Well, good morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on this 26th day of January. I'm Chris Burdick. That's Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for, my friend.
We'll recap the NFC and AFC championship games. We'll go down the UFC results, which was an intense UFC.
That was so much fun.
Definitely shadowed the Saturday night main event, but we'll get into that. We'll get into some entertainment with our boy Rick Bentley. And at the top of the hour, we'll have Trevor Chavez and John Hacker coming in, local comedians, ahead of Make You Laugh Monday tonight at Firehouse. And then we'll sit down with our boy Snacks, talk a little NBA, as I almost teared up with the D-Rose ceremony, but we'll get into that and much more. You can call or text in anytime at 661-842-2000.
I had a few Bulls fans hit me up on Saturday saying they cried during that as well. And I have to pose the question that I'm going to pose to you and to our friend Snacks when he gets in here. But where do we put D-Rose on the Chicago athletes Rushmore? Does he make it? Is he just on the outside of it? I have an argument that says he'd probably be, if not the fourth man, right there to be the fourth man.
Well, he makes mine.
Yeah, does he make yours? I don't mean just Bulls. Bulls, he's easily on there.
Okay.
Bulls, it's MJ, excuse me, MJ, Pippen, Rodman, him. That is the Bulls Rushmore, in my opinion. Yeah. You may have different ones. You are a deeper Bulls fan than I, but as an outside looking in, that is my Rushmore of Bulls fans, at least, or of Bulls players, at least in my lifetime, because those four have reached astronomical levels of popularity while playing for the Bulls. But that's just me. What's your Bulls one before we get into? Because again, we'll get into our Chicago athletes Rushmore with our guy Snacks. Because I mean, you can't count out anybody on the Cubs. You can't count out somebody on the Bears. I mean, there's a handful.
Oh, you're just talking about in Chicago?
Just in Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
know.
Not
Chicago born. There's a little too much that goes into that, but no, Chicago based athletes. Because I could give you my four right now.
Yeah, I don't think you could.
No,
I don't think
there's too many.
With the Walter Paytons and
exactly.
I can't.
Mike Singletary's, the Patrick Kane's, what's the other big Blackhawk too? That's
there's a lot of them, man.
Yeah, Mr. Cub, I has to be on that one. Yeah, Ditka has to be up there as well. So yeah, and that's why I'm saying
it'll be tough, but definitely a Bulls.
Yeah, Bulls Rushmore 110%, and all the respect to Derrick Rose and his career as a whole. It was so much fun to watch him get the recognition he deserves from the city of Chicago. And we'll get into this deeper with our guy Snacks. But what's your guys' Chicago athletes Rushmore? Text it in 661-842-2000, or feel free to chime in the YouTube chat right there down below. We will be able to see it and we'll comment on it as we go. But we got to start with the NFL as we normally do. The AFC and NFC championship games were yesterday. One of them, well, I mean, to be fair, the weather kind of made it that way. But yeah.
Even the first half wasn't.
Yeah, that's fair. Am I the only one that kind of felt like the weather bailed out the Patriots in this way, though? I mean, if there was
everything lined up for them.
If there was any other team playing Denver in this game, Denver probably would have won, just solely because nobody would have been prepared to play in a snowstorm like that outside of somebody that comes from Foxborough. So this game was still entertaining in some ways. Jarrett Stidham, I mean, kind of showed everybody why he's a backup quarterback. There were certain times where he just held onto the ball way too long, and certain mistakes obviously led to the reasoning why they lost. They led to the touchdown, the 6-7 yard rush in by Drake May at the end.
What was that?
I'm not going to say it again. You're not going to get me to say it again, Sparky. I'm not going to do it.
What was
that? Anyways, yeah, the game itself, boring to watch if you're an offensive-minded person. Defensive-minded football game, though, which I think there was a high probability that was going to be the case, especially with the two defenses that we had coming into this. The one thing, though, that I think everybody has to give respect to the Patriots for, coming into the playoffs, everybody was saying they can't beat good teams. And what have they done? Not only beat the number 1 defense in the NFL, but beat the number 2 defense in the NFL, and did so while looking like absolute arse.
Yeah.
So
that's not going to pass in a Super Bowl.
No, it is not. And I was going to get to that because I think the Seattle defense will gladly capitalize on all the mistakes that New England will be making. And to be honest, again, if that snowstorm wasn't a thing, I think Denver probably would have capitalized on more things in the second half as well.
But if and that
Yeah,
and what,
exactly. We're
the
not playing
Patriots
horseshoes
made
and
it.
hand grenades.
The Patriots made it. Good for them. I mean, I'm not too surprised once the final 7 teams are. I was like, all right, if Buffalo gets knocked out,
Yeah.
this is a good path for the Patriots, and they took it.
I mean, this is an interesting story in itself. The Patriots came into Denver 0-4 in the playoffs. They leave now 1-4. Vrabel has an opportunity to be the first person in NFL history to not only win a Super Bowl for a team, but win it as a coach as well. I'm sorry, win a Super Bowl as a player, but as a coach as well for the same team. That's the first time that's ever going to happen. He won 3 as a player. And honestly, they're the 6th team in NFL history to swap from going from 4 wins one year to the Super Bowl the next. The last time we saw it was the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, traditionally, those teams that make that transition going from 0 to hero don't win the Super Bowl, or at least I think it's vastly against them. I think it's 2-3 or 1-4, something like that is the record. But this team just kind of feels a little different. I know nobody really wants to sit here and hear me say the dynasty's back, and I don't want to sit here and say the dynasty's back. I really don't. But it's hard for me to argue that they are not back. Like, again, you took down the number 1 and number 2 defenses in the NFL, both historically good. Now you're going to have to go against essentially the number 3 defense in the NFL in the Super Bowl. Can they do it 3 times in a row? I kind of agree with Sparky. I just don't see that happening, at least not playing the way they have the last 2 weeks.
But if anybody does, it would be the Patriots.
No kidding. And to do all of this while your left tackle, rookie left tackle, is looking like he's cracking under pressure. And I love Will Campbell, I do, but this is the worst possible time, bud, to be messing up. Worst possible time for you to be messing up in your career. But I hope he can learn from this. And obviously, if they win a Super Bowl, all of it's going to be moot anyway. No one's going to remember, and they're all just going to remember him as the left tackle who was a rookie who won a Super Bowl. And I think the last one to do that was Nate Solder. So it's just one of those situations where, again, I don't want to say they're back, but 26 points overall in a playoff run, second lowest, I think, in NFL history.
But you just mentioned it. They're playing top defenses.
Yes.
But they're finding ways to win.
They're finding ways to create turnovers.
Yeah.
That's
and killing clock when they need to.
Yes.
When Stevenson is needed, I mean, he's a beast. And we talked about his earlier fumbles during the season. And I'm telling you, man, this guy is a beast. And I hope that he just finds his way to free agency this offseason.
So he can head over to Miami.
I would take somebody like Stevenson in a hot second.
Him and A-Chain together would be an incredible tandem for you two. But I think you guys have that guy in Ollie Gordon, if I'm being completely fair here. But the Patriots defense only let up 180 yards, granted with a Jared Stidham-led offense. What shocked me throughout this game, though, is the fact that Denver was so quick to abandon the run in the second half. They were actually running the ball better than the Patriots were in the first half. And then the storm came in and you magically decided, we're going to throw the ball now? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, Sean. Not at all. If I were you, I would have looked at RJ Harvey and said, look at here, bud. I know you're a rookie, but this game is now solely on your shoulders. And we're going to make that happen. I know that the 2 Pro Bowl linemen on the interior were having a rough day. I mean, the defensive line of the Patriots knows how to get under your skin, and they made it very, 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 very rough for those linemen.
And like you said, I mean, it was when he was holding the damn ball too long.
True.
And it was like, dude, you got to get rid of it quick and start opening up some opportunities for the run game.
True.
And it looks like they abandoned it after that.
Tony Romo brought this up in the game, and I didn't think too much into it until later in the fourth quarter. But do you, and again, stupid question technically from outside looking in. I'm sure a lot of sports people are going to be like, really? You're going to bring this up? Do you think the uniform colors helped at all? I honestly think it benefited the Patriots a little bit. And hear me out on this. There's a level of camouflage that comes with that. And granted, yes, Drake May could not see anyone down the field. He only had like 86 passing yards throughout this entire game. But it also helps in a way of hiding that running back, hiding that wide receiver for that end around. You know what I mean? Like, in a way, them playing in all whites benefited them. And in a way, Denver playing in orange kind of shot them in the foot. Because even though true, you can see the receiver down the field, doesn't matter. Jared still can't get the ball to him. The winds are still
That's the
way too
problem.
crazy.
Yeah, that was the problem. Plus the kicking.
Yes. Yeah, and there's no way you're going to be able to make a field goal in those types of situations. The fact that the Patriots were able to stretch a 9-minute long drive in the third quarter, 9 minutes, and get a kick field goal out of that in general to take the lead was baffling to me. I'm surprised he was able to even find the uprights. But again, weather permitting, it is what it is. They're now headed to their 12th Super Bowl appearance, most likely going for, or not most likely going to. I shouldn't say that because that means I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. They're trying to take the lead in Super Bowl wins over the Pittsburgh Steelers. They would have 7 over the Steelers' 6. God, nobody really wants to see that happen, though, outside of Patriots fans, right? Right?
I don't.
I know you don't. I know I don't. The last team I want to see win a Super Bowl right now is the New England Patriots after my 28-3 fiasco. Hell to the nah. But this is why we have the Seattle Seahawks on the other side of this, the NFC Championship. And honestly, this game was fun. I think we all kind of assumed this was going to happen. 31-27 was your final, and Sam Darnold played out of his freaking mind. I hope that means the oblique injury is done and that we don't have to worry about that for the foreseeable future. But the only thing that concerns me is him turning back into the proverbial pumpkin in the Super Bowl. I don't like that. I don't like the thought of that happening. I mean, I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but what are your thoughts going into this? Like I said, the Seattle team looked fantastic, but they were playing a team that they know very, very well in the Los Angeles Rams.
And I mean, first off, I think Kenneth Walker is a beast, and of course, Nigba. I think the Seahawks are clicking on all cylinders right now. And besides the stupid penalties on the defensive side, I think this team's going to be tough to beat. And, I'm going to go back to the coaching calls because McVay, which I understand he is, I don't know what he tries to take as much risks because he believes in the chances and blah, 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 but not kicking the field goal, not going for 2. I was like, there was several times I was like, this is going to bite you in the ass if you don't get it. And sure enough, he was 0 for 2, 0 for 3 on big opportunities, and I think that bit him right in the ass.
You could say the same thing about Sean Payton, though.
Yeah.
Sean Payton had an opportunity to kick a field goal, and he went for
when
it
was still sunny.
Down.
Yeah.
And honestly, and I get why Sean did it because you're against the Patriots, you're up 7-0, and a 14-0 lead looks way better than a 10-0 lead. So I totally get it. But again, it's the playoffs. You take those risks, and a lot of the times they don't work out for you. So I do agree with you there that the Rams kind of missed a lot of opportunities there. The 4th down stand at the very end of the game, I think, was just really, really good defense by the Seattle Seahawks. The one thing that I wanted to ask, though, how do you feel about the taunting call at the end of the game that set up the Rams for their final touchdown to Puka Nacua? Tariq Woolen staring down a lot of the players on the sideline, maybe did say something. I really wasn't paying attention to his lips or if he was talking. But do you think the refs should have kind of let that go? I'm hearing a lot of people say, that's kind of just playoff football. You should have let it go.
I didn't like it at the time until I saw the post game and the more of the interviews, and the refs came out and said they warned him 4 times and he was doing it all game. And he had warned him the last time. He said, dude, one more time and I'm done. Like, I'm done with your mouth today. And he did it again. And of course it was the perfect time to, give the Rams another opportunity. Luckily, they were able to clean it up and finish at the end, but he was still yapping after Puka scored.
Oh, and they were jawing at him. His teammates were chewing him out on the sideline afterwards.
I saw that.
That was great because you need to be on your teammates like that. That's a mental mistake you cannot have in the playoffs. I mean, and the next play was the 30-yard touchdown to Puka Nacua, which put them 4 points away from the lead.
That's what Stafford's like. I'm gonna go right after him again.
Exactly, and it really does show that kind of mentality as well that quarterbacks love to prey on, which is you're a little too overconfident. And if I can beat you, I'm going to beat you. And unfortunately for Woolen, you got 2 wide receivers on the edge that could beat anybody. Now, you played great defense in the time, and I do agree that the post game really shed some light on it for me, that I was like, okay, if he was doing this all game, I get it. But it's also one of those calls that if you're a referee, you just can't allow it because, and this, again, hypothetical maybe, but imagine Woolen does that stares down the other side and does jaw at somebody. And then that player decides, okay, you're going to do that to me. I'm going to take out your boy. And then we get a low hit on Sam Darnold because one wanted to run his mouth. That's what taunting leads to. And that's what the game is trying to remove. And I get it, but I'm also on the side of we need some rivalry football in the NFL, and this comes with it. So I'm happy that the refs sat there and said, hey, we let him do it the first couple times. But yeah, at the end of the game there, it's just a mistake that you cannot accept. And I'm glad that Seattle didn't lose the game because of it. But I don't know, just it's one of those flags that I wish that we knew context during the game. You know what I mean? Like, because there are a lot of conversations that happen between referees and players all the time that fans have no idea of. I mean, if you've ever played football, you know those refs are telling you, hey, bud, you're a little over the line, or hey, bud, you're holding a little too much. You do that again, I'm going to have to throw the flag. Like, they give you leeway. These guys aren't a-holes. Well, not all the time. Some of them are. But at the end of the day, man, it's football. I mean, it's playoff football. I think if we knew contextually that, hey, they've been letting Woolen get away with it a little too much, and then they throw the flag, I think every fan would have sat there and said, okay, we get it. Maybe not Seattle fans at the stadium at the time, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
I mean, the real big one was the McVay using the timeout before wanting to challenge. I'm like, what? Like, what is this fool doing?
Yeah,
like, why did he call a timeout before you want to call a challenge? Then he was about to use 2 timeouts.
Yeah, you're threatening the timeout too, which is what didn't make sense to me. But I don't know. Maybe they didn't know for sure and needed the extra time in order to actually make the decision. That's the only thing, or at least the only reasoning that I could see where it actually makes sense, is that you and the coaches were arguing, saying, no, throw the flag. No, don't throw the flag. We need the timeout, blah, 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 that type of thing. But I mean, again, at the end of the day, they were right there. They had it right on the board, or right on the 6-yard line to potentially take the lead and take this game. And then we would have saw a different rematch in the Super Bowl outside of the one from 11 years ago. I think this one's going to be a little more exciting, though.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We get 2 revamped teams that, honestly, I don't think a lot of people were expecting to see back in the Super Bowl this quickly. And my God, can Coach McDonald please learn from Pete Carroll? Please, by God, just hand the ball to Kenneth Walker. Please. I mean, I know he's no Marshawn Lynch.
That juke moved yesterday.
Pretty.
Wow.
Pretty.
Wow.
That man can juke you out of your shoes and run you over at the same time, and I'm here for it. But that's why I'm saying, can we learn from Pete, please? Please, don't throw the football on the goal line. I don't care who you have at wide receiver. Don't do it. Just run the ball in. Don't give the Patriots any opportunity to do this. Because let's be honest, a lot of the Patriots' wins and losses in Super Bowls, or at least deep playoff runs, Tuck rule, were all stuff that probably shouldn't have happened. But somehow they're the lucky beneficiaries. I guess there is some Irish luck out there in Massachusetts. I have no idea. But until then, we got Super Bowl 60 made right now as we sit. The Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots live from Santa Clara in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, we have the Pro Bowl in between that, but it is what it is, and we will all get flag football this weekend.
The MVP? Because we'll learn that this week as well.
I want to say no, but there's always going to be the talks and the pundits of saying yes. But again, it kind of goes to the argument we said last week. If that is so the case, we need to make this a non-regular season award. It needs to be a postseason included award. Maybe not Super Bowl, but your postseason run to the Super Bowl needs to be included. Because it just doesn't make sense to me if you don't give it to Stafford. If for some reason they say, you know what, we're going to give it to Drake, you would have to make the argument that you did that because he made it to the Super Bowl and Stafford didn't. That's the only argument you would have, because Matthew Stafford beats him out in touchdowns. He beats him out in yardage. The only thing he doesn't beat him out in is completion percentage and QBR, I believe. But even then, Matt's QBR is still astronomical. So it would have to become a postseason included award. But again, that's just me. The other big news out of the NFL before we take a break and get to our guy, Rick Bentley, on the other side, is we are going to talk some entertainment. Summer movie trailers released all over the place this weekend, including He-Man, Maul, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I'm very excited to talk to him about all things nerdy. So if you aren't a nerd, I apologize for the next half hour, but you're going to have to deal with it. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, have chosen their new head coach, and the fan base is livid as they have decided to take 66-year-old Mike McCarthy, former head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, former longtime coach of the Green Bay Packers. Do you think this is really just some play to keep Aaron there? I mean, that's what everybody keeps tying this to, but I think everybody has to remember here the ending of the relationship between McCarthy and Rodgers wasn't pretty. It wasn't. So I'm not 100% sure if this relationship that they're all hoping for is still there or even enough to keep Aaron around in the NFL. What's your thoughts?
Would you even want Aaron?
And that's the other question. Why do we even want to keep him?
Because the Steeler fans I've talked to were like, I'm on the fence with the hiring. I understand he's a veteran. He's got, a winning record in the NFL over the years. But I personally don't want Rodgers back. I mean, we got the most out of him. We got to the playoffs. That was the plan, to go over 500. They knocked the Ravens out of the playoffs. I mean, that's a win in the best way you can look at it. I mean, they're sitting at home watching the Super Bowl like the rest of us, but I was scratching my head when I heard the news. I was like, really? McCarthy, huh?
I knew McCarthy was always going to be on the board, but I just figured it's because of his Pittsburgh ties. Like, the guy is from Pittsburgh, and obviously that's going to, that'll show on the field. But I mean, and you're also losing Arthur Smith, who over the weekend signed as the new Ohio State offensive coordinator. Holy hell. Okay, Ryan Day. So apparently Jeremiah ain't getting the ball at all next year for you Ohio State fans, because that ain't what Arthur does. He don't make wide receivers look good. So if Smith is going to look good, he going to have to play running back. I'm going to tell you that right now. But I've seen a lot of Pittsburgh fans not happy about it. Watching the UFC fights over the weekend, my best friend asked me, he's like, what do you think of the hire? Do you think it's a good idea? I said, honestly, I knew it was a possibility, but definitely doesn't fit the mold that we're used to. The longevity thing I have to really question now, because you're not keeping Mike McCarthy there for 20 years. Ain't no way you're going to keep Mike in his 80s.
Remember Chuck Noll.
True, but Chuck was 30 when they signed him.
But he looked like he was 80.
True, but again, he was 30. So did Bill Cowher, but he was 30.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a stressful job.
30.
It's a stressful job.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why I thought they were going to go somebody with like Flores or a defensive type guy. A younger defensive type guy.
That's the mold. That's honestly what the prototype for Pittsburgh football is a young defensive-minded coach that usually could stay there for, 15 to 20 years. But just
I know there's a lot of coaching news coming out, because as a few teams are starting to lock up the rest of their coaches and their regime for the new season. I know Joe Brady is in Vegas on his second interview with the Raiders. That might be a good signing for the Raiders this weekend.
So is Bill Davis, I believe, the passing coordinator for the Bills. He's also there, or Joe Davies or whatever his name is. But again, if anybody's going to get that job, I think it would be Brady. He has the longevity of it. He was an offensive coordinator. And I know everybody's like, oh, yeah, passing coordinators. But the likelihood of him getting a job before a coordinator job, or a head coaching job before a coordinator job, I highly doubt that. That's a little bit of a stretch, but we'll see what happens with that whole thing. I don't know, man. This Pittsburgh thing is so weird. It's so weird because I get it. Rooney's have come out and said that they really signed him because of his winning record and his winning tendency in the NFL. But the guy hasn't been to a Super Bowl in God knows how long. He doesn't exactly get there without a franchise quarterback. And it definitely wasn't a 40-year-old franchise quarterback. I don't get it. This is the exact opposite of what the Rooneys usually do. So we'll see what happens. But if they produce the first losing season in Pittsburgh Steelers last 20 years,
I expect him to be on a short leash. And if
that's what I'm thinking is, do you think this is a Pete Carroll kind of turnaround, like what they did with Vegas? Maybe this is a 1 year off, and they say, you know what, our guy is out there somewhere this year. I mean,
it just surprises me because with guys out like Flores, I'll go back to Flores again. And guys, there's plenty of young, talented coaches looking for jobs. I thought maybe even McDaniel. I understand It's a difference, but yes, Shula. I mean, there's guys. Maybe it's that hometown, vibe with McCarthy, and maybe McCarthy sold him on what his plans, what he would turn around this Pittsburgh team. I mean, I like it as, I mean, McCarthy's a veteran minded, he's a good old football coach,
Yeah.
but it is definitely not the Rooney way.
Shieldhouse was also a big name that was thrown around there, the passing game coordinator for the Rams. Again, much like a Davies, I don't expect him to get a head coaching job, more of an offensive coordinator gig. But yeah, no, I get with the mold that is usually set out there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have to agree with you, dude. I didn't see this one coming. I always knew he would be on the possibility list, but much like some of the other coaches you hear, a lot of those guys are just interviewed just for the sake of interviewing somebody different. And I mean, as bad as that sounds, some guys just aren't actually taken seriously to get the job. So maybe one of these other teams pulled the guy they really wanted. Maybe they wanted Minter instead or something, and that didn't end up working out. So they went with their next best option. But I'm skeptical of this unless you can go out and get McCarthy a good young quarterback in this draft class that he can build or find someone in free agency he can work with. I don't think Aaron's the answer. I really don't. I don't think Pittsburgh needs or should want Aaron back. I think you can get a better offense done with somebody else. I'm very, very, very perplexed by the move. I'm not gonna lie. So we'll see what happens though. The Pittsburgh Steelers obviously are riding on just the longevity and the winning nature of McCarthy. 174 total wins in the NFL. That's hard to shy away from, I suppose. But I think they're really focused in on the fact that he won a Super Bowl once and they're just really hoping he can get them back to that Super Bowl.
It's gonna be a weird season, man,
It
because
is.
teams like, people think of Baltimore, they think of Pittsburgh,
Mm.
all these coaching, change arounds and who's what and what's. I mean, is the Steelers organization trying to change that Steeler vibe, with the McCarthy and getting rid of? I mean, I was more surprised on the coordinators leaving. I was like, okay, well, they're really cleaning house.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's gonna be interesting,
The big
definitely.
the biggest thing that just head scratcher to me is the longevity part of this. We all know that the Pittsburgh Steelers keep coaches around forever. And bringing in somebody of the age of Mike McCarthy, just again, brilliant mind. I'm not sitting here saying that Mike isn't a good head coach. He's a great head coach. But it just baffles me. It doesn't fit the usual mold we see from the Pittsburgh Steelers, which makes me believe that this might be a Pete Carroll Las Vegas Raiders kind of thing. Where
Unless the plan is to bring in a younger coordinator and, shadow McCarthy, and that'll
right
be the guy that he's kind of setting up to
to
relieve
take
him.
over.
I
Yeah,
mean, I could see that
I
too,
could
but
definitely see that as well.
it,
But
it's strange.
it is really weird. But let's take a break. We're going to get into some entertainment news on the other side. A lot of summer movie and series trailers were dropped over the weekend. So we got to talk to our guy, Rick Bentley, about that from KGET. Feel free to text in at any point in time. 661 842 2000 is the number to text or call. We will get to you guys as soon as we can. Or if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, you can comment down below as well. We will see that. We will comment on them as much as possible. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok as well. The reels are back. People really loved the Caleb Williams reel we put up last week on TikTok. I had a couple Chicago fans text in and reach out. I thought that was great. So thank you guys for following. We really appreciate it. Let's take a break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. You're going to give everybody PTSD. My God. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. And we got to talk a little entertainment because all of the summer's biggest movie trailers got dropped over the weekend. And who better to talk about that than our friends over at KGET, or our friend over at KGET, Mr. Rick Bentley.
Well, there's probably a lot of people better than me. But
Well, no, nobody's better than you, sir.
you're the only one you can afford. I'm the only one you can afford.
Well,
so.
that's also true too. But we have a budget here at AGM,
Exactly.
sir. We do. Sir, good to
Exactly.
see you.
It's nice to know that you pay me the same as Ralph.
Right?
That's the great thing.
That's the great thing. Yeah. It's the same rate across the board, everybody. Don't worry about it.
And I think it's also interesting, there's been obviously we're discussing the Super Bowl now.
Yes.
And you're going to see a lot of the commercials during the Super Bowl that are going to be aimed at these big movies coming up.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think, are we going to be talking to that Super Bowl ad expert, I believe, next week about that exact topic and how these things have changed and how the ads are all just geared towards specific people? Honestly, I think that's one of the biggest pulls of the Super Bowl these days is just everybody wants to see what ads or trailers get dropped during it.
Well, I think there's a combination. Now, there are people who are going to watch the Super Bowl who are sports fans.
Yes.
That's a given.
Yeah.
But I also feel like between the musical performances and the commercials that have been hyped up, even there's even a special beforehand. The greatest Super Bowl commercials of all time. I mean, we're talking about commercial stuff to sell you stuff, and that's become programming. And so that's the between the commercials and the musical performances, they're reaching an audience that probably could care less about it. And from this, to me, and I'm just going on the record right now, it's lining up to be one of the most boring Super Bowls I've ever seen.
Really?
I have no interest in these two teams.
True.
I feel like the Patriots are the weakest team to make a Super Bowl that I've ever seen. And I've been around
There's a lot of argument about that, though. There's a lot of people saying that right now.
Well,
and they only, in the 10-point game yesterday, I think was the third lowest in NFL history to ever make it to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So,
and we could go on, but we want to talk.
But you showed it. You showed it. There's not a lot of interest in this matchup.
No. And honestly,
No.
Does that mean, though, that you think more people or less people are going to be watching than usual? Because, I mean, we've had this conversation that it seems like the NFL could even be headed towards pay-per-view.
Oh, I know it's going there. I mean, that's a given.
If that is the case, obviously the Super Bowl will most likely be their biggest draw and their biggest, the biggest game you have to pay for, the most money.
Right.
So is this just a cocktail of disaster for the NFL, you think?
Yeah, I think well, it's not going to be a disaster for them because they're going to make money.
True.
The bottom line, the NFL, they don't care about the game.
Yeah.
They care about who's watching and how much money they can make.
Yeah, and the TV revenue and all of that.
So if they can make X amount of dollars being on commercial television or X doubled on a streaming service, they're going to go X double.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
And then my problem is staying off social media because they all the good ads are streamed before.
And
I mean, I've already seen a couple of them. I'm like, okay. But even in the games yesterday, they're starting to tease, the ending of these commercials are to be continued on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah. And again, I think a lot of those are going to be entertaining, but I agree. Like, you're going to see most of them before the game anyway. Yeah. And that's just a big letdown for me because that is one of the most entertaining parts of the game.
Yeah, I have always enjoyed it. It's one of the few times when I'm watching football, I do not wander away during the commercials.
Right. And it's the one time I think everybody's actually excited to see a commercial is during the Super Bowl.
Right. Exactly. So, and they've done a good job of giving us some really great commercials.
Yes.
And so I applaud them for that.
As long as we get the obligatory Doritos commercial, I don't care. That one's always the best one.
Or the Budweiser.
Yeah. Budweiser with the Clyde.
And I look forward to the movie trailers.
Yeah, that's true. And let's get into those movie trailers because you saw a couple of them this weekend.
Yeah.
Including He-Man and a lot of these that are coming out. But
maybe we should start with He-Man just simply because it's the most surprising.
Yes.
I mean, the previous He-Man movie was so camp and so awful.
I was a child. I grew up. I love that movie, but I was a child. I was a big Masters of the Universe fan.
Look, brother, I was a huge fan of the Spawn movie growing up too, but you go back and watch it now and it is god awful.
Yeah, I've never
and I was a child and I wet my pants, but I don't like that anymore. So
yeah, Dolph Lundgren in the Masters of the Universe movie was pretty bad.
So, with this resurgence of a lot of 80s pop culture in these movies, movies because you're seeing He-Man, Street Fighters coming out, and that looks fantastic. I mean, I personally enjoy that they're not taking themselves too seriously while still giving the fan a little seriousness, and you can believe this is what, you know, the product actually wanted to be as a movie.
Well, I think Marvel has set that stage for everybody.
Yes.
That you can take a comic book and make it into a great piece of film. And so you don't have to be campy and over the top. And, you know, you can treat He-Man as if it's a serious action film, and people are going to enjoy it. And so I was thoroughly surprised. I thought, oh gosh, I don't know if I can sit through another one of these. And when I saw the trailer, I thought, wow, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing this now.
Well, and they took an interesting spin on the story. For people who haven't seen the trailer, it seems that Adam has been sent away to a modern society, essentially like here, as if he was living in New York, but he knows he's from the world he's from, and then he finds some way to find his sword. That sword gets him back to the world where he belongs, and then we get He-Man, him actually becoming He-Man, and
like the Barbie movie.
Yeah, essentially. And the probably most accurate depiction of Skeletor I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
We all know it's Jared Leto. I'm very, very worried about what this voice is going to sound like, though. I'm not going to lie.
No, you never know with Jared Leto what he's going to do, and that could be the kiss of death for it.
But that's what I was going to say. Do we need a high-pitched Skeletor voice like the cartoon? Does it have to be like that in order for it to be good?
No.
Not to you?
The laugh has to.
The laugh has to be a little bit.
Yeah. But the rest of it, I think if we're going to go with what looks like a more grounded version of it, then I hope the voice is pulled down a little bit. It can still have that raspy.
That's what I'm worried about, is that we're going to sit there. He's going to look badass. No one's going to hear the voice until the movie comes out. And then the first indication we get is going to be this high-pitched helium, does not fit the character at all.
Yeah. And there's a reason to worry for that, because the trailer, we don't hear him speak.
Right.
It's almost like, are you hiding that from us? Or is it just he didn't need just seeing him was enough?
I think they're hiding that it's Jared Leto in general, because the public has turned so much on him lately, and he's not a very popular person at the moment.
Well, he's done it to himself.
Yes.
Every role he takes on, he Jared Leto's it.
Yes.
It's got to be, this deep. He ruined the Joker.
I'm a big fan, so I don't think so.
He's the worst part of Tron Ares.
No way.
Oh,
you don't think so?
No way.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Tron Ares yet. I have not actually watched it.
I'm a big fan, though. So I could be.
I kept hitting delete. I wanted in Tron Ares. I wanted him deleted.
That was a great movie.
I need to see that one still. I just barely re-upped my Disney Plus account, to be honest with you, because I finally paired it with Hulu, because Shorzy's coming back,
and now that Hulu's going off the air.
Exactly. So it's like I have to do something. Yeah, right. You need the bundle at some point. If it wasn't $35 freaking for ESPN2, it would have done that. But the three of them together is just absolutely ridiculous. Other movies that got released over the weekend, though, Mario Galaxy is coming. I personally am a huge Mario fan, just solely because I grew up on the video games, but I'm excited to see Yoshi in this now. That entire trailer just made me excited, just solely for that character alone.
Yeah, no, I have liked the previous, versions of that franchise. I think it looks great. Another one I'm happy to I get to go see. Sometimes I look at these trailers and go, it's like the Supergirl trailer. I keep looking at that going, oh, am I really going to have to sit through that?
But then you see Lobo and you see all this other stuff, and I'm like, okay, this actually doesn't look too bad.
Well, if this was a Lobo movie, I think I'd feel much better about it.
Very true.
But just something about, I don't know. And I know the comic book went that dark with the Supergirl character, so it's not like we're way off base.
Yeah, it's not uncharted territory.
But the whole thing feels like a DC version of Guardians of the Galaxy. So it feels like nothing feels fresh about it. And so, so there are trailers. Some of them excite me, and some of them just leave me flat.
I just thought it was interesting that with the names of the movies that are coming out, like He-Man, Mario, I mean, we're going to get into Avengers and Dune here in a second, but then you have shows like Maul and all these Star Wars stuff. Like, if you really sit there and think about it, a lot of these video game based or spin-off based stuff back in the 90s and 80s would not have worked. Like, a lot of this stuff would have fell flat on its face, but we're starting to hit this generation now that this is pretty much the only content they want to absorb.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is a change in the movie industry at all, that maybe video game movies and all of that are the route that we need to start, or not need to start going, but that companies will start headed because, I mean, it's easy cash makers?
I think it's just laziness.
Really?
I really feel like Hollywood has given up being creative.
Oh, yeah.
And so they said, okay, what's the franchise that if we say, Mario, people go, oh, I know that character. I know that story. I know immediately. And so they don't have to work as hard. And so that's why I think we're seeing a lot of these video games being pulled to the big screen. It's just an easier.
Or there's a lot of movies that are coming straight to streaming that are really good. And a lot of them, I mean, I watched, was it the new Matt Damon and Ben Affleck movie that came out in the last couple of weeks?
One yet.
That one was great.
The Rip?
The Rip
right?
was
The Rip,
really
yeah.
good. And I mean, I catch myself, and I mean, I'm a movie guy. I go to the movies as much as I can, but I'm catching a lot of the better movies that are written and not redone go straight to streaming.
I was gonna say, I think that the argument that I've heard for that is because movie studios see no real money makers in new product anymore.
I mean, look at the box office results for the last 3 weeks. It's been Avatar.
Yeah, it's like what you were saying, that they would prefer just picking a IP that everybody knows because they know that's going to be all the money. So do you think it is going to head the way like Sparky says, where maybe all the new original IP head more for streaming services, whereas all of the, traditional media that you grew up with will all be made by bigger name movie studios?
Yeah, I just think what we're going to end up having is that the only thing in theaters will be popcorn movies.
Okay.
It will be stuff that it's like Avatar. Okay. As much as I always hesitate making people spend so much money, Avatar needs to be seen on a big screen. It's just got that sort of, Avengers is going to be that way. Dune is going to be that way. There's some films that just need to be seen on a big screen.
Yes.
The Rip, a Ben Affleck, Matt Damon movie, does not have to be seen on a big screen.
That's fair.
So I think what we're going to see is that movies are going to just keep leaning more and more and more toward these big, but and a lot of animated. Look at Zootopia; it became the #1 grossing movie of all time.
So wild to me. But
I mean,
yeah,
and I liked the movie. But it wasn't like, oh my gosh, that is the greatest.
Yeah, 5-10 years from now, we're not going to be looking back and remembering Zootopia.
Exactly. The plot or anything about it.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. And you've already brought up two of the biggest box office movies of the year, which we won't be getting until December, unfortunately. But Dune and Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday, for those who don't know, will both be released on the same weekend, we found out.
Yep. December 18th.
I brought this up to you before the segment started, but I wanted to get your thoughts and Sparky's on this. What do you think that this is just the next Barbenheimer? Do you think everybody now is trying to say, okay, two big box office movies, although releasing on the same weekend could be a problem, or they could just bolster each other into popularity?
You're giving Hollywood too much credit.
You think so?
I think both studios picked that date because it's an important date, because as you're heading toward that Christmas weekend, when you know you're going to do big box office, you want that momentum.
And toys and all that are going to be released.
And I think the Barbie Oppenheimer thing was a chance thing that happened. That wasn't planned. But the difference between that is that Barbie and Oppenheimer were complete opposite movies.
Fair.
Absolutely different.
Yeah, polar opposites.
Yeah. I know there were people who went to both, but generally, there was an audience for one and then generally an audience for the other. When you look at Dune and Doomsday, that's the same tick buyer. And so it's not like, oh, if you go to see Avengers, and your date is going to say, no, we have to then go see Dune. It's one of those, it doesn't have the same resonance with me.
Fair.
It's not the alternative version of the other.
No, that's a very good point. Because, I mean, you're right. There was probably a lot of couples out there and said, fine, if I have to sit through Oppenheimer, then you have to sit through Barbie. You know what I mean? So I totally get that. It just, because I, like you, we talked about this during the break, but knowing that both of these movies, both of them are going to be massive, massive successes, or you would assume.
We would assume, yeah.
But competing against each other on the same weekend is going to be pretty rough for the viewer. Because, like you said, these are two at heart just sci-fi based movies that are targeted towards the same person.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, it's not like it's a one-shot deal.
True.
And so, look, hey, Friday night we're going to go see Doomsday.
Right.
Saturday night we're going to go see Dune. Okay, well, you've seen them both.
Right.
I mean, so it's not like you only had it's one or the other. It's
Yeah.
like you can go to the AFC Championship game or the NFC Championship game. You can't do both.
True.
Well, you can do both of this.
What do you make of the extensive amount of teaser trailers that the Russo brothers are dropping right now for this Avengers movie?
Well, I think it's marketing genius.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at it when a trailer has a countdown clock on it,
Mm-hmm.
it's telling you trying to build that excitement. It's been, I think, about 7 years since we've had a good Marvel movie.
That's fair.
And so I think they know they need to really get this franchise back on its feet because they've had so many misses lately.
Mhm.
So I love the idea of that. And we're also talking, unless you're a big comic book geek, you really don't know the story of what happens
Right.
in this franchise. And so I think they need to be teasing you. I love the idea that they're teasing you that, they finally got the X-Men, which
Mhm.
was, and those of us who keep up with the movie industry know that there were rights owned by one studio and Disney finally got them and blah, 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 blah. And so, but I also know that there are characters being shown from some inside source that I have. There's at least one character being shown in those teasers that's not going to be the character you think when we get to the movie.
See, they've done that in the past as well with the Infinity War movies and all of that. They would edit certain parts of it. And actually,
Yeah.
Spider-Man is the biggest indicator of it because the last Spider-Man movie, they had to edit out Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield so nobody knew about the big reveal.
Exactly.
So that wouldn't surprise me at all. I have heard a theory, and I want to get your thoughts on this because we only got about 2-3 minutes left of where this movie's going. Like you said, for comic book fans who don't know the entire idea of Doomsday or where this is going, it's going to be depicted off of a comic series where a central bad guy takes all of the major big superhero groups, puts them on a battle world, and tells them all, fight each other. The winner gets to take me on.
Right.
And that's how all of this comes to a thing. So basically what this is going to be is the Avengers, the new Avengers, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, all being thrown onto this world together in certain teams, having to fight each other before they finally realize we all should just band together, make one giant group of Avengers and fight Doom, who's going to be Robert Downey Jr. The theory that I'm hearing, though, is that the countdown clock is actually more of a countdown clock to a central part of the movie itself. And we're going to be watching all of this through the eyes of Loki, who is now, controlling everything after the Loki series.
He's the Chaos Master.
Right.
Yeah. The only other big question I have about this, and this is for those who aren't big comic book fans, is that after we've been given Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man,
are we going to be able to get over
it's suddenly like, well, why is Tony Stark now? And even one trailer, because at some point you thought, well, maybe he's just becoming, playing a different character. No, he's Tony Stark.
He's been, yeah.
And again, that's another thing from the comic books,
right?
Because Tony Stark did become,
right. Well, because the other theory as well is that they're going to tie off of that this will be a variant of Tony, but the variant that didn't get adopted by the Stark family.
Right.
That he will be adopted by the Von Dooms instead.
Well, and when we have those multiple universes,
you could do literally anything you want.
You could do anything. That is their get out of jail free card.
Last 30 seconds, though. Which movie do you think will do better, Dune or Avengers?
Avengers. Yeah, Dune, I think, is for diehards.
Are we getting another Dune movie, or is this it?
Oh, they'll keep doing them.
They're going to keep going?
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's plenty of books.
That's true. That's absolutely true. That's why I have to ask. But then again, they ruined Star Wars and didn't listen to any of George's books either. So thank God that Kelly's not there anymore. But, sir, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. As always, we will talk to you soon. Let's take a break. We'll get to our other guests on the other side. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. We are also streaming video live every single day from 7 to 9 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And it's time to talk to our friends over at Made You Laugh Mondays. Mr. Trevor Chavez is in here.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good,
Glad
sir.
to be
Good
back.
to see you. No tears this time, though, right?
No. Well, do we want to get into my frustrations about the Lions OC pick? I mean, if we want me to start crying, I can get into
we
that.
can. We'll get it. Well, we'll get into that in a second. Let's introduce your guest first. Who'd you bring with you this week?
Brought the guy who's become a workhorse of the Bakersfield scene.
No kidding. You guys had him working all weekend from what he was telling me. There's a reason he's chugging his coffee over here.
Exactly.
My God.
But not only that, but he's a regular at Made You Laugh Mondays. He's a paid regular at the Well. He's on my D&D podcast, Rolling with Comics, that me and comedian Jaybird run, and he's one of my best friends. On top of that,
let's slow the roll on that part,
guys. He's what I say about this guy, John Hacker, is he's my gay best friend, but he's half straight, so he's only mean to me.
There you go. There you go.
One of the best comedians. I personally think. I've seen him for years. Lastly, the last time I saw him was actually with our boy Chris Flail over at Timber. So I mean,
years ago,
you're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes,
you've been coming out for years. Then.
Yes, yes. Actually, me and Betts, I started seeing Betts and Andrew Boydston down at the Rocket Shop Cafe back in the day before the Well, and COVID came and shut down. My buddies actually was a sports bar at the time, was the Well, and then I clicked them two together and.
Now we got what
we have the Well Comedy Club, so I'm super proud.
So we got you to
going.
thank for that,
and Dan and Lindsay, obviously. But no, that's awesome. I'm glad you're here this morning.
I'm happy to be here, guys.
I mean, as much as you can be, I suppose. They had you running ragged all over the place.
Yeah, I did 5 shows over the weekend. Featured for Hans Kim, like that was that was a good feeling. That's
absolutely,
yeah, when the headliner comes off stage and goes, you're a tough act to follow, that's
gotta make you feel good,
boost your ego a little bit.
Absolutely.
So,
He's gonna be living on that for months.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
as
better
he
than,
should.
Oh, I would too. I would never let anyone forget that.
No, I'm telling
yeah.
everybody that was better than doing a line. You know what I mean? That was a good pick me up right there.
Let's talk about the Hans Kim show, which was obviously over the weekend at the Well. You opened for him. How did it go? How did the 2 shows? Did we have a packed house?
We had a packed
4 shows. I apologize. Yeah, 4 shows.
Yeah, we had a packed house. I think the earlier shows, both the 7 o'clock shows, sold out. Don't quote me on that. I'm not behind.
Well, I would assume it looked
packed.
like like the line was out the door when I drove by over the weekend.
Yeah, it was incredible. Hans Kim is great. Very, very Ralphie May kind of guy. Very, does like racist jokes, but you can tell he doesn't mean it. It's not coming from an angry or a mean place. He's just having fun and playing with it.
And I did. Luckily, you didn't have to follow a guy like that because, like I told you during the break, I was just watching an interview with Bert Kreischer because he's talking about the Free Bert show or whatever that's coming out, and he brought up Ralphie May and how unfollowable he is, like as a comic. Like you just after you have a guy like that, like just nobody's gonna do better than that.
Yeah.
So I mean, for people who don't know or haven't seen you as a comedian or as a comic, what is your comedy like?
I talk about myself, you know,
just life stories,
my life experiences. I kind of, I do, I do a pretty good Sam Elliott impression, I've been told. So I kind of work with that on stage. It's not bad.
You see, what it is you're missing the mustache. The words have to brush off of a mustache.
Well, if I grow a mustache, I look like I'm not allowed near a preschool. So I try to stay away from that. Yeah.
That's a rough one. So were you born and raised here then, or
born and raised in Bakersfield? Grew up over by Compton.
Okay,
junior high down over there. I how long have I been doing comedy? What, 10, 11 years, something like that. I don't know, but back at Rocket Shop Cafe, that's where I got my start. And I called in sick to work one night, went to an open mic, did terrible, bombed, and then continued going and kept bombing for about a good 2 years. I think it was like 6 months before I got a genuine laugh from a joke I wrote.
Wow.
And that was a good feeling. And now, I get to meet like touring comedians. It's pretty fun.
So as somebody who bombed a lot at the beginning of his career, what made you keep going back?
Depression mostly.
Just wanted to share how
Just
you were feeling.
wanting to share how I was feeling.
The old "this is cheaper than therapy."
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't have money for therapy when I'm delivering pizzas. But no, I just when I was a kid growing up, I loved stand-up comedy. Like I'd sneak in the living room and I'd turn on the old like Comedy Central 30-minute specials, you know what I'm talking, and I'd laugh, and my dad would come in and be like, "It's 10 o'clock, go to bed." But I always loved it. So getting to be able to do this is it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It feels great. I'm
And
a little feeling like I'm hit by a truck after 5 shows.
I don't blame you whatsoever, dude. 5 shows in 3 days had to have been rough.
Yeah, it was fun. It was great.
But I mean, obviously, you've been able to take this and expand it into different areas. Like you guys said, you have a D&D YouTube channel that you guys do as well.
Yep.
How does that get off the ground? Who came up with that idea?
That was, actually,
I think that was Jaybird.
Yeah,
right?
Jaybird got it off the ground. But he had kind of picked up on the fact that a lot of the comics in Bakersfield, like I think there's like what 2 or 3 D&D groups going right now.
There might be. I don't know.
think so.
Everybody really caught the craze because if you're on TikTok, there are a handful of really popular ones.
Yeah.
And I mean, all of you guys are hilarious. So obviously, this would just be great just to get all of you in a room together and make up a game because that's essentially what D&D
and
is.
that was Jaybird's exact thought, and he came to all of us and was like, "Hey, would you want to be on a D&D podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
We all play anyway. Let's go." And then within the last season, Jaybird came to me and was like, "Dude, I can't edit and produce and promote and direct and do all the. Please, can you?"
Yeah, it's like, could somebody step in here?
Take something.
So yeah, that's when I became the DM. And if you guys want to hear more of John Hacker's Sam Elliott impression, his current D&D character is essentially what do we say? Gunslinging tiefling Sam Elliott with a substance abuse problem.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a fun character to play. It's just a divorced dad trying to make it in life.
What's the other who are the other characters for people who are curious?
Okay, so let's see, people that we've Andrew Boydston is also part of our group, and I think the backstory is that you guys have a detective agency that you were running at one point.
Yes.
And
please tell me it's Wheels in the Leg Man. Please. Oh God, that'd be great.
Although I think you guys did base your character story off a story of 2 Civil War veterans.
Oh yeah.
In like a shoe store, and they realized they had opposite missing legs. So,
oh wow.
So they would buy the pair of boots, and they were friends. They were both opposite sides of the war. That's a fun story.
It's like a sisterhood of traveling pants.
Yeah,
kind of a thing.
yeah.
That's
Sisterhood
awesome.
of the wooden leg.
That's fantastic. Okay, so it's you guys, John Hacker, Anthony Boydston. Who else is part of this?
Alyssa.
I'm sorry, Jaybird.
Jaybird, Andrew
right,
Boydston, Alyssa Suggs, Christian LeBeau, and Jay Newkirk.
Yeah.
And how often do you guys do the episodes?
We meet to record every other week, but we are now back to putting out episodes weekly because usually Jaybird will cut the episodes into 2 halves. So.
Gotcha. Okay, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, because it's a 3-hour session that we usually do, and we know no one wants to sit down and set in for a 3-hour.
That's a hell of a commitment. So yeah, cutting that in half helps me tremendously. Thank you.
And once we edit it, it's about an hour and 15 minutes. So perfect. Drive. If you got a long drive, perfect to throw in there.
Absolutely. And then obviously you can go see these guys every single Monday as well at Made You Laugh Mondays at Firehouse. Is there anybody big coming in this week? Because I mean, it seems like you guys got special guests almost every couple weeks.
Yeah,
we have like locals and stuff.
Well, we've had some good pop-ins. Let's see. Lil G, who's an LA comic who has opened for a ton of guys down there. I'm trying to remember the laundry list who he's opening for, but I know Bruce Gray and Kelly Ryan stopped in over Christmas. We have we have a bunch of good comics from Fresno that usually come down at least once a month. So yeah, you're not just going to get the Bakersfield scene. You're going to get a good taste of stand-up throughout Southern California and the Central Valley if you come out.
Yeah. John, how often are you there at Made You Laugh Mondays?
I try to make it at least every other week.
Yeah.
The open mics is where you build your chops, that's where you work on the material, and then you come out and you do it at a show, and it pops. And
that seems to be the consensus for most of the comedians that come on and talk about Made You Laugh Mondays. Not that you guys don't take it seriously, but it's more of just like, this is where you're going to get the raw joke of all of it,
right?
And figure out, okay, this kind of worked, this didn't, and obviously you have to base it on what crowd's in front of you, right?
Yeah. I mean, kind of.
Yeah, depending on the situation.
I don't know. Sometimes you can blame it on the crowd. Other times you just screwed up and you got to rewrite it.
So if a comic or somebody that wants to be a comic wants to test it out, how do they sign up?
So all you need to do is show up at 6:30 or at or before 6:30 p.m. at Firehouse Rosedale Station. If you guys are watching online right now, just look for me. I'll be there. I'll be sitting in front of the sign-up sheet and I'll point you to it. Otherwise, the host Tyson Hayes. But yeah, as long as you get in before 7. If you're a new comic, we'll try and find a way to get you on the list. We love having people try out because hey, first-time comics, that's how we get more good comics. Again, like John said, sometimes you bomb for 6 months.
Sometimes you bomb. Do
you
not.
figure it out.
Yeah, if you're somebody who wants to do stand up, like don't worry about messing up. I think that's probably one of the best experiences I learned from doing this. Is I used to be afraid of screwing up everything, and now I'm like, I can mess it up and do good later.
It happens. It happens. I mean, you guys mentioned Jay Bird. We're gonna have him on later this week. He's got an upcoming show coming up, and I believe I saw you on the poster he sent me. So you guys have a show coming up. At Roosters.
Yep, totally.
John has the great problem of what show am I on? That's right.
What day is it?
Well, I mean, he did 5 shows in 3 days, so I'm pretty sure everything's a blur to you at this point.
Yeah. I'll be done with the hangover by tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, absolutely. And then we are a sports show at the heart of all of this. So are you a big sports fan? Do you have a NFL team you follow or anything of that nature?
I enjoy sports. I don't have a team that I follow.
No.
I like them. I enjoy watching people.
So you're just living the best life ever. You don't have to worry about the hate or the or the
I hang out with my
disappointment or
friends
anything.
watching football and they're upset and I'm like, why? They're doing great. This is cool.
This is awesome. This is good football.
I don't even know who the Seahawks are.
Yeah, he comes over for to watch wrestling sometimes, and he's just like, "Oh, Rhea Ripley. All right, I'll just pay attention."
That's the
to
only
See,
wrestling
and that's-
name I know.
I tell people all the time, especially if you're not a diehard wrestling fan, just turn your brain off and watch it. It's
Yeah.
just entertainment. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah.
You don't have to take the story seriously. No, that 6-foot man that's dressed in all black does not actually have the power to turn out the lights when he wants to. We all know that.
His brother in red does not have the power to summon fireballs.
Exactly. We all know that. But at the end of it all, I mean, that has to be pretty entertaining. Personally, I'm a Falcons fan, have been my entire life, so I really can't walk away from a fandom at all. But I do envy people who just like sports, just want to watch it just for the sake of watching.
It's great, dude. Those baseball uniforms are incredible. I love the announcer voice on the baseball. I love when you turn on the TV and you just
you have a little bit of a baseball announcer voice on you.
Thank you. I always wanted to be a baseball announcer.
There you go.
I love when you turn on the TV and you hear that bottom of the ninth.
See,
Andre Gonzalez.
See, you want to talk about that?
I could have killed it.
That was pretty dang close. I'm telling you, CSUB, I'm telling you, if you need an announcer, we got John Hacker right here for you. He fits perfectly.
We just had Rodeo Pro Wrestling in here last week. They're looking for a announcer.
Commentary team. They wanted us to jump in on that one as well.
I'll do some commentary.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we said too. It's like, why not?
Oh my God, I would love nothing more than to see John Hacker doing rodeo commentary.
Oh, that would be great. Look at that. Oh my God. Anyways, back to the comedy show at hand on Monday. Obviously, you guys have been doing this for a long time. We are still at the Firehouse location on Rosedale.
Correct. Yep. Come on down for great food and drink specials. We finally got to try the burgers this weekend, and they're fantastic.
Y'all have been there for this long, and you haven't had a burger?
Because I'm usually running sound and drink. I have to go in for a game on the weekends for me to actually try the food.
That's absolutely fair. And you've had to cry in your soup for the last couple of weeks.
Right. Yeah. And then again, anger about OC coaching or OC choices this
Speaking
weekend.
of which, Drew Petzing. I mean, we released a clip about it. I personally think you guys just chose the guy who had better leadership qualities.
I think that Dan Campbell is sick of getting left at the altar and pick someone who's going to stick around for a while. I think that's what happened. Because we want someone that can grow with it. Why? Why not have someone that you know is going to get you to a Super Bowl, you know is going to win you a championship, and then they're going to get a head coaching job because it's in their best interest to make your team as best as they possibly can.
So who did you want?
I mean, I wanted McDaniels.
You thought McDaniels was going to be the one.
I was salivating for that.
He's going
as
to
an OC,
the Super Bowl?
As an OC, I don't need him to do everything. I just need him to run the offense.
See, there is a level of Delulu that comes with being a Detroit Lions fan, though. And clearly it is absolutely rampant if you believe that Mike McDaniels was that man. I don't know. I don't think Drew Petzing's the guy either. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's going to be fine. I don't think it's going to be that bad.
Oh no, I don't think it's going to be bad. I just don't think that we're going to be championship contenders next year the way that Lions fans had hoped. I think we're going to be. Honestly, we're going to fight for the division. We're going to make the playoffs. It's going to be a good run, but with. I'll admit it. I drank the punch too hard the last couple of years. I did it. I was power chugging it, and I was like, once you guys saw me once.
Well, I mean, you didn't have Kool-Aid for what, 2 decades?
I was gonna say, at least you got Kool-Aid, man. I'm a Dolphins fan. We haven't had Kool-Aid since the 80s.
And this is why we know Mike McDaniels would not have gotten you to a Super Bowl.
Hey, you got St. Brown, you got Gibbs, you got Dan Campbell. That defense is gonna lead you at least a lot farther than my team. So
the playoffs.
Okay, so what you're saying is Dan Campbell listened to Dolphins fan as the ex-boyfriend being like, you don't want to date her, bro.
Right?
You don't want to date that.
You don't want any part of that, bro.
And continuing, I mean, Dan Campbell was in Miami. He was our interim coach, and they just let him go.
Valid. Okay.
I forgot about
that.
He was. He was
guys,
your assistant.
Thanks for giving me a wonderful dose of reality this morning. Jeez, I am too much of a homer.
Well, this is what you get when you listen to the early bird special. We come with everything, a little bit of cynicism at times, but from the outside looking in, then, because I got to ask you, you are a fan of sports, and obviously you deal with these guys all the time. One of the running gags that we love to bring up every so often when Trevor's in here specifically, or when Anthony Howdigi is in here, is the long-standing rivalry that it seems the Well has within its own walls in the NFC North.
Okay. Sure.
From the outside looking in, how do you feel about this whole thing? Do you get a good laugh watching these guys kind of get at each other's throats every so often?
I mean, I do love watching my friends have fun, but it's kind of like for me, it's like reading hieroglyphs. I don't know, like. I caught the words that you were saying. Those definitely are words,
like,
but
those go together.
Those go together. Yeah. But I hear offensive line. I'm like, that's the guys going forward, and then and I know what a touchdown and a field goal is. But after that, it's kind of murky.
Yeah, that's fair. So, what along the lines are you more into? Are you like, because obviously you're into D&D and you're all that. Did you grow up playing D&D? Are you more?
Oh no, I didn't play D&D until
not at all?
I got into doing stand up.
Oh, okay.
And like, I had a couple different groups with some of the other comedians that we did over the years. But yeah, are you asking me my favorite sport?
I mean, if you have one, or if there's anything that you do outside of comedy.
Okay. Well, favorite sport, I would say if I had to choose, would probably be baseball. If I'm gonna pick something, that makes sense. I would do.
Dodger fan?
Yeah, I grew up. Yeah, we would go to the Dodger Stadium like once every couple of years or so. Outside of comedy, I got a job doing pest control. I bought a new couch. I just kind of want to sit at home with my girlfriend and hang out with the dog.
That's absolutely fair.
I spend so much time working and then doing this on weeknights. It's great to just be home and relax.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I mean, again, I just give a little bit of background on what you like to do and what people can kind of get used to when they come and find you and come watch you do your thing as a comic, man. Because I mean, if it's all life lessons and all life, stories and stuff, you got to give some background on what you actually have to go through every day.
And then, although to be fair, if you want to hang out with John after the show and talk about like pretty much anything nerd related, John will start talking to you about.
I'm in. Yeah. Anything nerd related.
Buy him a beer and he'll probably just sit there and talk to you for an hour.
Yeah. Well, dude, weren't you talking with us at D&D about how you were like, I think I want to get into Warhammer? And we're like, John, you're going too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I know of Warhammer. I don't know the gist of it.
All I know is that the lore is just like
thanks to the video games. I know that. That's the
yeah.
only reason I know anything about Warhammer, though. Is the video game.
Oh my god, the Warhammer lore is insane, and I want to get into it. I just do not have the money. Like, I don't know if anybody.
Because that's what it is. Like, for those who know at least a little bit of what D&D is, D&D, at least you have little figurines of what you can be and stuff like that you paint and stuff. And
you
a little
can
nerdy.
if you want to,
Warhammer is literally you have a army.
Yes.
You have hundreds of little figurines that you paint and make your own and all this stuff. And it's a little too much in my opinion.
I went into the game store that was down the street from me, Old Well location, just to pop in and see maybe I get a couple figurines.
Oh, you're talking about
is that autos?
Yeah, autos. Yeah. And I saw it. It was like 3 little figurines for $120. I was like, maybe we don't need to do this. Maybe we just get a 3D printing machine and have fun with that.
Absolutely. And Jaybird has chimed in on the YouTube chat saying that you are 2 of his favorites. So just to let you guys know,
thanks, Jaybird.
So one more time, guys, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. where is Major Laugh Mondays this week?
Major Laugh Mondays is at its usual home, Firehouse Rosedale on Callaway. Come on by for great food and drink specials. Get something to eat before the show. Maybe do a round of bowling, and then catch some of your favorite comics, like our featured comedian this evening, John Hacker.
And John, where's your next show outside of the Major Laugh Mondays?
That is a good question. I turned off my phone, so I don't have my calendar.
Well, I know you'll be doing one with Jaybird here.
Yeah. I'll probably be at the
Thursday.
Roosters. If I'm not on the show, I'll be at the open mic.
And then obviously you'll see him at the Well as he opens for so many different comedians like Hans Kim and all of that.
Yeah, the lineup, if you guys want to come by the Well, the lineup is going to be amazing. We've got who did I say this weekend? Russell Peters.
Peters, yeah.
Then Jim Norton coming up next
incredible.
Thursday.
Uncle Laser
Uncle
after
Laser
that.
And
I got my Norton tickets. I missed out the last time, so
Did you really?
pumped.
I'm gonna get tickets too. I got to see that guy.
Yeah, there's no way I'm missing that. And then we've got next week's guest, Jeremiah Nation, is going to be opening for him. So,
nice.
And I love Jeremiah. He's one of my favorite comics in the Central Valley. So there's no way I'm missing that show.
And then real quick, last question for you, I promise. But is there a venue that you've always wanted to perform at? And is there a comic that you've always wanted to open for?
I don't know. I haven't put too much thought into a venue. And there's always been one of my favorite comedians, not a great person, hilarious comedian, Louis C.K.
Yeah.
My favorite comedian of all time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Terrible human.
But
great
you can respect
comic.
the work ethic. I mean, it's like
What
Michael
expect?
Jackson. We can respect the music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's two separate lives for everybody. So, well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you as always. John,
Thanks.
nice to meet you, my friend. Hope
Had
to
a
see
great
you here
time.
very soon.
Yeah.
And we will talk to both of you very, very soon. I'm
All
sure.
right.
Sounds
I'll
great.
see you
Thanks
guys
for
on
having
Major Laugh
us.
Mondays.
Hey,
Let's
thanks
take a
for
break
having
real
us.
quick. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We are also streaming video live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can also join us on Instagram and TikTok as well. Like, share, subscribe, all that type of good stuff. Here, the reels. We are back into fluctuation here. We'll probably get about 1 or 2 a day. But we got to talk a little NBA with our guy Snacks, because there's a lot of drama going on in the NBA as we are about 2 weeks away from the trade deadline, February 5th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And we didn't get a chance to talk to our guy last week about this whole LeBron and Lakers drama. I want to see what he has to say about this. But my friend, can you hear us?
Mike, you checking 1, 2. Can you hear me? I'm driving.
You are. Yes, you are. Good to hear you, sir. Good morning. All that type of good stuff. Happy
Morning.
Monday. Let's start with the Lakers and LeBron. The story was kind of going when we talked last week, but we didn't get the full blunt of it until after we spoke with you. But it seems that LeBron James has found himself in the middle of this entire Bus family drama, which led to the selling of the Lakers organization to Mark Walter. Do you think that, like Shams Charania has said, this is just the beginning of the divorce between LeBron and the Lakers? And is this just the new normal for the Lakers? Because we've kind of seen this with a lot of the major stars that have come to play there in the last couple years.
Yeah, I really don't know how LeBron got into all this, but I can see how he got into all this because, I mean, somebody of that stature can bring a whole lot of money to your franchise. So I know we talked about this last week off the air, like in the hallways, and I just don't know how. I still to this day really don't know how I feel about it because it came out of nowhere for all of us.
Right.
But the Buss family has always had a little inner issue with the brothers that we've known of. So I think this has been a bigger issue, and that's finally just coming out, and they're just adding someone. Now I can't. I would be remiss if I say it makes sense why LeBron would be in this because again, how much money he's bringing to. So do we want to keep it longer than what we wanted to, or whatever the case? Those conversations probably haven't come up. But I'm actually still confused of the whole situation. If I had to be honest with myself.
So from what I've read, is the arguments pertain to LeBron and Rich Paul. And I believe Rich Paul actually may have talked about this on his latest episode of his podcast on Netflix, which I need to go back and watch. That was released last week. But the relationship between Clutch Sports as a whole, because Anthony Davis, I guess, could be tied into this as well, and the Lakers was soured because of just, I guess, things that Clutch was trying to do with the players and, you know, promoting LeBron and Anthony and all that type of stuff. And they felt that Clutch and Rich Paul had too much say and too much power in the Lakers. And personally, I just think this is all just part of the argument that the Buss family is having indoors or in their own homes. And it's leaked out that LeBron is part of it. And that's why everybody's making a big fuss out of this because it's LeBron James. And, you know, anything negative that comes out about LeBron, everybody's going to run with. So,
well, I did see this conversation, but I don't think, excuse me, that the Laker organizations are the only one disappointed with the Clutch Sports situation because I do see a lot of people asking why are they even in the locker rooms? Like he shouldn't. Rich Paul shouldn't even be in the locker rooms or having this type of locker room talk.
Well, that is the weird part about all of this is Rich Paul, who, for people who don't know who Rich Paul is the owner and operator of Clutch Sports, longtime childhood friend of LeBron James, and has really turned into what he went from essentially agent to insider to analyst. Like now this guy is being seen as one of the most pivotal basketball minds. And honestly, I kind of blame guys like Pat McAfee and all that for that, because they brought him on and hyped him up like that. Like this guy knows probably more than most general managers do. And I'm not saying that Rich isn't a brilliant guy and probably has great business sense and great basketball sense, but I do kind of see why everybody's saying what you just said. Why is this guy in the locker room? He's somebody's agent. He doesn't need to be behind the scenes talking to the teammates. Like the only people he needs to be in contact with are LeBron and Anthony, and that's it.
Yeah, but it's also hard not to talk to him because he has some of the most top players in the league.
Right. Clutch Sports easily
LeBron.
is probably the biggest basketball agency in the NBA, I would think, or at least most well known.
Yeah, and so it's kind of hard not to talk to him, or kind of hard not to go through him.
Right.
I'm sure agents coming up in the business are asking for advice. Again, he's sitting down. He has to have a conversation with all these GMs, so he's going to know what's going on in the locker room. So it's kind of how do you keep all that to yourself? And then with the podcast days, it's kind of a freedom of speech at that point, so you can separate yourself from. Now that's going to become a bigger issue now, where agents aren't going to be able to talk about these things outside of, like, where's the happy medium between that? Because again, in the podcast space, you can talk about what you want to.
Sure.
So how do you really stop them at that point? So
and the amount of the business and money he's putting together with these teams, there's kind of like that happy medium where like, okay, where do we draw the line with this guy?
How much power are we really going to allow him to have? Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think teams are going to have to sit down and like really talk about that when it comes to dealing with, because if you allow that, now you're going to have to allow it for every other agent. And so now he's just building the blueprint for agencies in a whole.
And who says this stops at the NBA? Who says that like Dave Mulligeta out there in the NFL doesn't get the same bug up his butt and want to start doing that kind of thing, you know? And he's in and out of NFL locker rooms. Like the guy already makes all of his players ridiculous amounts of money. Why wouldn't he do something along that line? You know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. This is just a weird precedent to set in the NBA. So maybe this is just the Lakers putting their foot down and saying, we're not going to allow this anymore.
Well, while we're talking basketball, and, you know, I promised myself I wouldn't cry this weekend, but the whole D Rose, you know, he got his name up in the rafters with Chicago Bulls. And man, I watched the whole thing. And I mean, I know there's a certain amount of years and let this, you know, kind of sit, but listening to Jordan, listening to Luau Dang and all the, and then even him talking, I mean, that was tough to not even to watch. I mean, I appreciated all the time we got from D Rose, and everyone that watches basketball knows the sad story of how his, you know, career ended multiple times. You know, we'd get this close and then an injury that would take him out. And, you know, one, it was awesome to see. Two, do you think it was too long? And number three is how over all the years of Chicago with the Chicago Bulls, just strictly in basketball, where do you see D Rose on that all-time list with the Bulls?
Right after Jordan.
Dang, even over Scotty and Rodman?
Right after Jordan.
Yeah.
And the only reason I don't put him over Jordan because Jordan is Jordan.
Yeah.
True.
But the reason I put him over all of them is because he's from Chicago. And how that city just loves up on, like, he's probably the most protected person in Chicago.
Yeah, and he led that team like Jordan did. You know, whether it didn't get the championships, but without D Rose, we were just a mediocre team.
And honestly, you could argue D Rose is one of the first ones that the NBA really skewed the lottery to make sure he ended up on a specific team. Like that year, Chicago was not supposed to have the first overall pick.
That's very true.
So
very true. I mean, and it's just the story that comes with it. How he still talks about that city. You can just see in his retirement ceremony, just the passion that he has for that city, how the city has passion for him. And man, the games and the excitements and the highlights that guy gave us, man. I hope they don't take forever to put him in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he didn't win the championship, but what he did for the game, I always say he's our generation of Al Iverson.
Yeah. Oh 100%. Yeah. Easily. Do you think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Has to be.
I would say yes, but I feel like writers are going to fight it just solely because of his injury history. And like you said, he never really won a ring. So a lot of people are going to argue that. I personally agree, though. I think he has to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Has to be a first ballot Hall of Fame because you saw the potential if he didn't get hurt. He was going to win a championship. He was going to break many, many more records. We probably still see him as a highlight reel today.
He would have been
athletic he had ever.
He would have been the face of the league if LeBron wasn't playing at the same time.
For
I
sure.
genuinely believe that.
And me personally, I would have put that same. They had a good battle going back and forth before he got hurt.
Those playoff battles, man, were fun to watch.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, nobody in the East wanted to see the Bulls when D Rose and Noah and the rest of the crew.
Carlos Boozer, Luau Dang,
those guys.
Kirk Heinrich,
Taj Gibson,
who he was also guys, in the ring or at the ceremony.
Yeah, those guys at their best. Nobody wanted to see them in the East.
So I said earlier in the show, my Bulls Rushmore is Michael Pittman, or Michael, Scotty, Rodman, and Rose. Would you
I like.
would
I
you agree to that, or do you think there's somebody we're leaving off?
No, I like that.
When you
I
think
like that.
Bulls basketball, those are the four names that pop up in my head at first. I mean, you could argue Steve Kerr, you can argue a couple other guys, but
No,
personally, I think those are the four names you go with. But in terms of Chicago athletes in general, do you think D Rose makes the Rushmore?
absolutely. He makes any Rushmore Chicago sports anything to me. Because he brought that city back to life. We weren't talking about the Bulls for a while until D Rose got there.
True.
After Jordan left, and even when Jordan left, we weren't really talking about the Bulls when Pippen was there, because the only reason we're talking about Pippen because all the other issues that was coming with him, that he was giving
drama.
the team.
Yeah,
all the drama that came with it. But
I haven't talked about Chicago since.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Chicago, so you have to grant D Rose that
It's fair.
that story, man. Like D
Well,
Rose is this, and I don't remember ever being in trouble.
Mhm.
Ever doing anything crazy. He haven't had anything bad stories about him outside of his injuries. So why waste your time? Put him on the ballot, man. Put him in the Hall of Fame.
It's true. I could see it. Personally, my Chicago athletes, at least, would be MJ, Walter Payton, Ernie Banks, the Mr. Cub. You have to put in a baseball guy. The fourth one, I have an outlier. You could put Singletary in there. I think you could put Rose in there. You could put Patrick Kane in there for the Blackhawks if you really wanted to go that deep. But I think you put up a very, very good argument that just solely because he's from the city and what he meant to the city as a whole probably propels him over a lot of those other guys. So I that's why I had to hear your thoughts on that as well, because when I was sitting there thinking about it, it's like, God, Chicago's had some crazy names in the sports world. And for him to be at the top of it and not even needing to win a championship to get there is wild. It really is.
Yeah, and I just think that part alone, the fact that he's from the city and propelled that city to where it is now, and still talking about it to this day, is I mean, because let's be honest, he's the reason we're still talking about the Bulls. Like you don't bring up the Bulls and don't talk about either Michael Jordan or D Rose. It's one of those two names that's going to come up. So I'm glad they finally celebrate. I'm glad they put his name in the roster. I mean, in the rafters, and for him and his family and his kids, you can see how important it was to his kids, and they were like mad young. You're like, y'all don't even supposed to understand what's going on, but they do.
Right, and if they wasn't for that buzzer beater to win the game and does the whole D Rose stare, it was awesome. I was like, dude, don't choke this game off.
I miss watching that goddamn man play. I miss watching this man play basketball so much.
Oh man.
Real quick before we let you go, my friend, we still have some talk around the trade deadline, which is about 2 weeks away, but it seems like two names that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks will not be traded just solely because of injuries, as it looks like Ja Morant and Giannis both are going to be hurt past the trade deadline. What do you make of this? Do you think that there's still a possibility that they find some way to get a physical done and get them moved? And do you think Anthony Davis could also be on the short list of movements here before the 5th?
I'm just going to say what most fans probably have said in their heads, but are they really hurt?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to Ja, I genuinely do believe that could be a thing. Giannis, I think, might actually be hurt, because they are sending him to get like physicals and checkups and stuff like that. But Ja, to me, that one, I genuinely think they may just be holding him out as a healthy scratch.
Yeah, what a coincidence. Everybody gets hurt around trade deadline.
Well, and of course, he came out last week after saying, deal with it when it comes to the trade. Now he's saying, I don't want to leave. I want to stay in Memphis. This is where I want to be. And it's like, make up your freaking mind.
Yeah, last week they were talking about, he bought a home in Miami. The Heat is, the one that he's going to, blah, 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 blah,
It
blah.
seems like this is just the story with Ja every time. Like, he'll sit there and say one thing, and then he'll go right back to Instagram Live and just, flash his guns and be the hood guy that he wants to be. So what does it that Ja actually wants? Like, what are we actually wanting here?
That's what I'm saying. Like, are they really hurt? And out of those three names, not saying because there's so many other folks, players that can be traded, but out of those three names, those are the three big names. Again, I think we talked about in the last show, where do you put them? Ja Morant and his character right now, who really wants to add that to their team, unless he's just acting that way to get out of Memphis. Giannis has been on a different character base as of late the past 2 years. And then that's a big name. And if you get him back on his P's and Q's, he's a really, really good player.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to give up a lot of players. So now you're basically breaking up a team in the middle of a season. And then 17 Softy, I don't know where you put him because you can't really trust that he's going to be healthy.
Right.
So I don't as a GM, I'm like, I'm not really yearning to go out to get one of them. And if I do, I probably have to be Giannis. But my owner has to understand we're going to have to break up this team in the middle of the season.
Well, see, I think you make a very interesting point there, and a good point that I don't think a lot of GMs are going to be willing to break up their teams for a guy like Ja or a guy like Anthony, where you don't even know if they're going to be playing there next year or the year after that. A guy like Giannis, at least you know he's going to be loyal, he's sticking around, and he's going to help you win a championship. But with a trade like Giannis, you have to be ready to make it to the championship right now. So, like, unless it's a team like Cleveland or a team like Miami or somebody that's at least on the precipice of the playoffs, you're wasting a trade if you aren't going to make at least a run at a championship with Giannis.
Yeah, because Giannis, you're going to trade to somebody, a younger team, where he can feel comfortable around.
Right.
Anthony Davis, you're just going to have to trade. He's at the point of his career where he's almost coming off the bench and/or just going to give you a few good minutes. And then John Morant, we don't know what we're going to get from him. It just depends on where his mental space is. So, I don't know where you put them in the middle of the season.
It is wild to me that we have gone through a generation of probably some of the most athletic and talented big men that have done nothing but be injured their entire career. Because Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, I mean, Karl Anthony Towns at times, like, as much as I love, like, he could go that route if he really continues this soft way of play. Like, it bugs me that we've had so many super talented big men that should be dominating the NBA, and most of them can't stay on the court.
Yeah, and I don't know how they keep getting hurt so much when they have way more advanced technology than they had back in the 90s. Like, how are you hurt so much? This also makes me ask the question, are you really hurt? Like, what is going on?
Maybe that's the thing, though. Maybe it's a mentality thing, or maybe it's the fact that these guys were getting roughed up so much back in the 90s that allowed their bodies to become acclimated to it and not get injured as easily. You know what I mean? Maybe it's the changes to the game, not necessarily the changes to their training.
Well, those guys play a lot more pickup ball back then too.
True.
So where you beat up on each other a little bit more, so you prepare for the season.
It was street pickup ball too. It wasn't AAU stuff. So it's absolutely true.
Out there on the concrete.
No, absolutely, sir. We have run out of time though. Thank you so much for yours, and we will talk to you next week.
Yes, sir. Love you guys, man.
Talk to you soon, brother. Let's take a break. We will get into the UFC 324 on the other side, as honestly, Patty just got beat up. But I have some gripes against Gaethje. I love Justin, but there were a couple moments in that fight where I was looking at it saying, what the hell was that, Justin? We'll get into that on the other side. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Final segment of the day right here on the Early Bird Special, KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We're also streaming video live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch as the show is live every single day from 7 to 9. Or you can go back on our YouTube channel, check out some of our old episodes, some of our old interviews and whatnot. Mr. Bentley's interview will most likely be up there from today with some other ones as well. And honestly, I think we're going to hit these Reels things pretty dang hard. You guys seem to really enjoy the ones we released over the weekend. So we're going to keep it rolling and see how this thing goes. Let's get into what we saw over the weekend, though, before we get out of here. I know we got a caller. We'll get to you in a second. I apologize. But we got to talk about TKO's incredible weekend as UFC 324 was over the weekend, plus WWE Saturday night's main event. Why you decided to do both of these on the same day, I'll never know. But it is what it is. And at this point, I got to watch both. So I'm happy. Were you surprised with any of the outcomes over the weekend, Sparky? I mean, personally, I loved watching the Paddy Pimblett Justin Gaethje fight, but Gaethje got away with a lot of really questionable things. The thumb to the eye, the hitting low, the other eye poke. Like, Paddy seemed to be getting beat up in ways that he really shouldn't have been. But that's just me.
I would say the same thing. I mean, I was more looking forward to the O'Malley fight personally, and
against
I
Yang
thought
Sedong, which
we
was
got what we wanted.
Fantastic fight.
I thought it was a hell of a fight, and that was the one. I mean, I was going back and forth between that and WWE, but I was happy.
Sean let it go a little bit in the second, but opened it up in the third. You could tell he was holding back in the second round. Why, God only knows, but maybe he was just trying to get him tired for the third. But Yang Sedong is still a fantastic fighter in his own right. Are we seeing the resurgence of Sugar O'Malley? I sure freaking hope so.
Yes.
Love watching this guy fight. God, man,
and if you're a long
the mouth
time,
reminds me of a little bit too much of Connor.
Yeah,
and
that's what I love. And if you're a big UFC fan or just fighting in general, I will say, me and the wife watched the Smashing Machine last night. It's now on HBO Max. It is a great movie.
Oh, yes. I can't wait to actually dive into that one. I've heard nothing but good things. And the story of Mr. Kerr is just incredible. I am hoping they capitalized on some of the major parts, but I know they couldn't have gotten everything in there just because family members and all of that stuff don't want to see everything that their family member went through on the silver screen for everybody to judge. So I highly doubt you got the full story here.
They get a little deep in it, though.
But yeah, I would love to know at least a little bit from the perspective of what we can be able to understand. Let's get to our caller real quick. Daily Dave, I believe, is on the line. Sir, how are you?
Good morning. Just wanted to say congrats to the Hawks in the past. The snow globe game was hard to watch, but I went ahead and watched it.
I think it was still fun in its own right. That was football weather, Dave. That was absolute football weather.
That's old-time football, Green Bay Packers style, Chicago
exactly.
style.
And then
Minnesota Vikings. No, you got it. But I don't know, speaking of Chicago, did you mention the great Dick Butkus?
No, again, another name that I forgot. Dick absolutely needs to be on the Mount Rushmore. You are absolutely correct. In fact, would you put him on there over Walter Payton?
Gale
Sayers as well. Yeah, it's another name we didn't mention.
Wow. Now you got me thinking. See,
That's what I'm saying. Like, I love Derrick Rose. And I have to say that Snacks made a very good argument that just solely because he's from the city of Chicago and what he meant to the city of Chicago, that's a really good argument. You got to at least, say that he might be up on that Rushmore.
Yeah, Butkus was like the epitome of the middle linebacker.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's why I said Singletary, because I think everybody remembers Mike a little bit more from the 85 team. But you're absolutely right.
That's probably one of the greatest defenses ever.
Absolutely. And that's another man, Mike Singletary, who for some reason just doesn't get the love he deserves as a football player. I have no idea why. He was a solid coach for the 49ers for a short time,
that's what it was.
You think so? Just the stint with the 49ers ruined it for everybody? That everybody just can't get over it? I don't know. I don't think he did a bad job with given what he was, given.
You have some great points about the Chicago, and Rose is one, he's kind of like an all-time favorite over there.
Oh, yes. And forever will be. I mean, again, you heard Snacks say it. He's probably number 2 on a lot of Bulls lists right now. It's hard for me to put him over Scotty and Dennis just because of the championships, but for what he meant to the city, it's hard to deny that. Sir, thank you so much for calling. We appreciate you. We got to get out of here, though. We have 30 seconds, so unfortunately, we do not have enough time to continue talking sports. But we will be back tomorrow, 7 to 9 a.m., as we always are. Join us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch as well. And you can find us on Instagram and Facebook. Just search the Early Bird Special. Like, share, subscribe, all that type of good stuff. Couple reels out there from the David Keckner interview, which is also by itself on our YouTube channel. Go check that out if you missed it as well. But until then, we got to get out of here. Sparky, let's go home.